Speaking about rushing your shit, I want to talk about Marvel a little bit because they always rush their shit when it comes to special effects. But I want to talk about Taika Waititi because Taika Waititi's back in the news again because he said that, well, when it came to the Thor movies, he was on a Smartless podcast talking about it, and he said he really had no interest in joining the MCU. He had no interest in directing any kind of production for the MCU. He was doing very well with what he was doing, all of his independent productions and his acting, directing. He was having fun with that, but he had a second kid, and they called him up about Thor, and he's like, "Well, I gotta be able to buy that kid some food, so I'm gonna do the Thor movie." So apparently, it was all based off money for him. That's what he said in his interview coming forward. He says, "You know what? I had no interest in doing one of those films. It wasn't on my plan in my career as a director, but I was poor." And I just had a second child, and I thought, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to feed these children. And Thor, he said, let's face it, it was probably the least popular franchise. So shots fired at Thor. Now, he did say that he loves Chris Hemsworth. He said he loves working for them now. But overall, he was like, this really wasn't on my vision board for my career moving forward. I never saw this being my thing. But you know what? Still, Ragnarok, one of the best Marvel movies, I would say, and the best Thor movie. Now, Love and Thunder.
Everybody agrees with you.
Not the best movie, Love and Thunder. It was all right. I enjoyed it. It was all right. But,
my favorite.
I mean, but really? Love and Thunder?
I like garbage films, Brian. What do you want from me?
I guess we've had that discussion for like the past hour or so. But everything he touches is great. Like Rachel said, I agree. He does great work. And honestly, even Love and Thunder still wasn't bad. Wasn't the best, but it still wasn't bad. It wasn't Ragnarok. But I still think that, I mean, I don't know why you say this now. Why do you say this now? Like, Ron, you've done two movies. I guess they're talking about Thor 5 and he's not coming back to direct it. So maybe that's why. But like, why be like, yeah, I never want to do this before because he has great relationships. Is that the best thing to do as a director moving forward from somebody to be like, I would do this for money?
Yeah. I mean,
be honest.
Be honest, Ron. Yeah, give it to us.
Honesty is
that's what it comes down to is, the money. It's just, I'm not surprised by that. I don't think there's going to be repercussions for that.
If they wanted him, they would probably just hire him again for another one, right? They wouldn't care, would they?
They wouldn't care. Just like the Scream franchise really didn't care that Neve Campbell decided not to do it, which I thought was an atrocity because I think she owed it to her fans, but whatever. She could come back in the next one if she wanted to. I guarantee it.
She'll always be my Scream.
But you think she would?
I don't think she would, unless she needs the money.
Well, now this new Scream movie,
Cox came back. It's just like,
it's true. Huge. But Ron, they lost two cast members from that new Scream movie. Jen Ortega walked away, and her sister. They fired the sister from it. So you think that she would come back to that franchise now? They might pay her.
Ortega walked away.
Yeah, she walked away. She said because of the strikes, she said she has to do Wednesday, so she can't make it happen. So she literally was like, "I'm not doing this." And that was right after they had fired her sister played her sister on the show. So I don't know if it had to do anything with that, but she said it was scheduling. So she's gone. So two of the big cast members are gone from the reboot. So Neve might have to come back. They might have to pay her like a truckload of money and bring her back.
That's all it is. That's all it is. There's a number that she would say yes to. That's all it is.
And we're back to the money, Ron. We're back to the money.
That's
right?
what it is.
That's the primary theme.
Listen to the money. Listen to the money talks, right? So yep. I think you're probably right though, Ron. Like Taika, he's putting it out there now. He's joking. Smartless, it's a comedy podcast. They're having a good time. They're just joking around the whole time. So maybe he's putting that out there now.
Picture, man.
But to me, hey man, I found my pictures. It's one of my favorite things. But I think for him, it was about the money. He can move on, do something else. Mike, do you think that Taika will be okay? Are you shocked that it was about the money for him?
Am I shocked that it was about the money? No, not at all. Let me start with saying, hey, Kato, great. Your comic books, you're reading the extended universe stuff. I'm about it. Pop in if Sean and I end up doing a separate podcast about that kind of stuff.
Which we're developing that actively. We'll get to it.
Yeah. We'll get that up on the Patreon. As special co-host, let me keep this very concise. Okay, Taika Waititi. Newsflash. Artist takes job to feed his kids. Okay, that's not shocking. He didn't want it, which meant he wasn't precious with the IP. He was just a talented guy with no real attachment to the project. This is the kind of mix-up that comes with good art in comics and movies, because he's not trying to optimize, because he's fresh to the project. Optimizing the project to make sense to every audience, to tell every connecting storyline, to be optimally marketable. That's how you make a commodity, not a piece of art. And people are still looking for art in the theater, and the numbers reflect that of the audience, something that speaks to their human experience. I'm sure commercialism will kill art completely dead eventually, but we're not there yet. So no, Brian, I'm not surprised he took this job for the money. I'm happy he did, though, because we gave power to somebody that didn't want power. And that's great. That's the best way to dish out power.
I heard he was great on set too. I had some friends one of my friends actually doubled for for what was her? What's the female Thor version name? It's not.
I don't know. Who are you talking about?
What Mighty Thor. Mighty Thor is her name, right?
Okay.
Mighty Thor. He doubled for Mighty Thor, and she was like, he was phenomenal. He was like really cool to her. And you're right, Mike. You know, maybe sometimes the people that don't want the job should get the job more often, especially in a universe of Marvel and Disney where all they do is worry about money.
Mix it up.
Money.
I think I'm consistent with that. Like I know the money has to follow the numbers, basically, but you need to breathe. Fresh air is hard to quantify in numbers, I think. So pretty soon, though, the AI is getting really good. They'll be able to quantify that soon enough.
Eventually, they'll just take over the world. That's what happens, right? Eventually, isn't that how it's written everywhere, right? They
It's going to be great. We're
going to love our overlords. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I'm so excited. Oh, here they come again. They're coming for me.